In today's video, we'll talk about what makes a great get-to-know-you question in the classroom. Welcome. I'm assuming you may be a teacher looking to increase your capacity in creating connections in the classroom. I think you've come to the right place. I've trained over 30,000 teachers on how to create connections in the classroom. And one of the things that we kind of overlook is simply the get to know you, or we call them GTKY questions that start the conversations of community building in the classroom. So let's start out with what makes a great question. First of all, it needs to be fun. I mean, who wants to talk about something that's boring? So sorry, scrapbookers or other activities that some of the kids may not resonate with. But at the end of the day, the kids want to talk about something that's fun. Number two, here's one very vital. We need to disconnect from academics or content related questions. I know that sounds absurd. And some of you are like, what? In fact, I even had a principal one time saying, why can't I ask questions that are content related? You can. The point is, why you're always asking content related questions. So at this point, why not disconnect from academics and content altogether? Because I know what some of you are sneakily doing. You're like, oh, what's your favorite pizza? And then you want to divide it by the number of students and give you an average per slice. I'm telling you, cut that out. Just talk about pizza in the classroom. And I know that sounds absurd, but believe it or not, this is what makes it fun and engaging for the students. Number three, let's make them simple and shallow-ended. I cannot tell you how many classrooms I've been into, and I have seen disasters when it comes to these connections, because they'll be like, tell us about the last time you cried. I'm like, why? Why would you want to talk about the last time you cried? That is not where we're going. Simple, shallow-ended. Like, think about it almost like first dates. You don't want to talk about how many cats you have or how many exes you have on that first date. Wait for those questions later on. So simple and shallow-ended. Hey, before we get any further, teachers, I want to know, what is your favorite GTKY question in your classroom? Drop it in the comments. Number four, let's not make them debatable or high energy. I get so many questions like, how do you bring the conversations back down in the classroom after the kids start creating these conversations? And I'm like, don't ask questions that set them up to fail. In other words, don't ask better. Who's better, Michael or LeBron, Nicki Minaj or Cardi B? I want to keep those debatable opportunities for another class discussion. This is not when you want to incorporate into community building. Next, let's make sure that they are grade appropriate and age appropriate. In other words, like middle school students love the would you rathers, and even elementary, even high school. But at the end, middle school just seems to be like, because middle school is like gross at times. And what's crazy is the grosser the question, the better. I mean, I get questions like, Mr. Curtis, would you rather have somebody sneeze or cough in your mouth? I'm like, neither. And they're like, no, you have to answer it. I'm like, no, I don't. And neither one of those thoughts bring happiness or joy to my life. So make them grade appropriate, but also make them interest and relatable. I mean, what do the kids want to talk about? These are the things that interest them. So again, I'm going to guide you to thinking about grade appropriate, interest relatable. And then lastly, let's just make them simple. Simple get to know you questions, not something complex, not multi-thought. And when you think about these questions, it's important to understand that the students not only relate to them, that they're high interest, but again, I think there's so many resources out there for teachers to, again, conversation cubes, you can pull cards, ChatGPT and AI has so many questions. I mean, it's unlimited resources out there, but I would encourage you, as you're building connections in the classroom, to start with either resource or generated questions. And the reason I ask you to use these is because I want teachers to feel safe, particularly if this is your first time diving into these conversations in the classroom. The last thing you want to do is get surprised by questions. In addition to that, I would ask and encourage you to have students start to participate in this question building opportunity. To me, the students coming up with the questions has so many benefits. Number one, they're better at it than we are. Number two, when you pick their question, they actually get excited or invested in this. And then number three, which I think is outstanding, imagine a classroom where the students come up with the questions on a regular basis. Guess who doesn't have to? You, as a teacher. I'm trying to take things off your plate. I hope that you can appreciate that. Now, with that said, if you do have students submit questions, make sure that you pull and proofread those suckers. Kids will write down the darndest things. All right, teachers, let's create more connections. Please come visit our website at ddiscipline.com.